coming back into open session at 2:21 PM. We move on to the item 6, which is the interim city manager report. David?
Yeah, Mayor, Council, I placed this report. It did not get included in the packet, but it's a report there. I'll just go over it. We had 2 dirty water complaints. They're up in the Seifert Loop area. One, I called the lady back and it was resolved, and we are working on the second one who's got a little bit of dirty water from every once in a while, she was saying, so Michael's kind of monitoring that situation. We did get a third one last night from a gentleman. We flushed the line by his house. It cleared up in just a few minutes. So that's also over, that's by the Veterans Park.
David, are any of those in spots that we already fixed dead ends?
So the last night's not on a dead end, as far as I know. So, and yes, the one on Cypher Loop was after we had done the repair. So,
You said one of them was across the street from the Veterans Hall,
Veterans Park, yeah.
Veterans Park? They just had that Christmas deal over there, and every time that there's an event at the Veterans Hall,
Probably loosens everything up.
people get.
Okay, really? Okay, well, Michael, that's something we can monitor then. Okay,
A little
good to
too
know. I
much
didn't know
for the
that.
system.
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't know that.
because obviously,
Are we still flushing?
Yes, we flush, is it daily and weekly?
Weekly and monthly.
Weekly and monthly, okay.
I've got Christian guys out doing it 2 days a week, Mondays and Thursdays.
Very good. So as far as Safe Built goes, Billy was working under Don's licenses for inspections. When Don left, we had to revert back to Safe Built, and they were very gracious, and I guess it's their business, but still they were very, very open to taking us back on for a while. And we explained Billy's going to go through his classes. Billy's in class right now, and as soon as he gets his certifications, then he can take that over. But it's probably going to be a few months. We contracted with a company called DDS out of El Campo to provide background checks and random drug screenings. This will not be for the police department. They will have their own system they'll use at the police department. The floors at the Civic Center have been cleaned and waxed for this year, so we have a lot of rentals during the holidays, and so they're prepared, ready to go. We're also working on quotes to get the outside of the Civic Center police station painted. All the red barn siding is going to get cleaned up. It's been several years since that's been done. The cameras have been installed in the warehouse, at the swimming pool, at the park, by the swimming pool, and then the walking trails have, they're all out there. They just need to get them all connected up. That should be next week. But everything's working. I can see them on my computer in the office there. The police chief and I completed our ESAC training, and that allowed us to submit the annual reports. So we've done that. So the next one I put on there, Michael's really good about having the guy, we find in them rainy day projects, things when the weather's inclement, and Michael found several already. They've cleaned the whole back of the warehouse out, the yard back there. We have a small train cart that we're refurbishing. We're going to put that over at the library location. So we're just moving forward. Mr. Dannemiller volunteered to help us with the planter boxes on top of that. So we're getting the community involved in that project. So that should be a good little project. The Franklin Street water line connections up north, that's been completed. That was a WJC completed that. The flushing continues. We did purchase 2 automatic flush valves that can be remotely turned off and on. So those have been installed. I think we're still waiting on training from the
Yes,
software.
I uninstalled them yesterday for the training tomorrow. They
Okay.
changed their mind on how they wanted to do it. So.
Okay, so they'll be here tomorrow for training on that. As far as the sports complex update goes, we put out RFQs to see for a design build team to come in and design and build it. We didn't get any responses back. I did reach out to 2 of the ones that I thought would respond back, and one said it was too short a notice over the Thanksgiving holidays, and the project was too small for them. They thought that they were coming out of Houston, they wanted a much bigger project. So I reached out to some of the engineers, Bevco and Strand, and we might go with the engineering, the more typical, what we usually use, where the engineer designs it, and then they kind of subcontract it out. Maria and I just got our passwords so we can work on the Texas Parks and Wildlife Walking Trails Grant. That's due the end of January, and Angela from Langford is working with us on that, and I think it's $300,000 for walking trails. So in my mind, we'll be able to connect the softball fields up with the new sports complex. So that should be a good project if we get that.
David, I think it was the July or August budget workshop, I think it was a list of probably 20 different projects. We were gonna go to Langford, I believe, and ask them, if there was any grants for those projects. Do you know if Don did that, or?
I signed up for some they send me grants that are available all the time, and I just constantly monitor that.
Okay.
And I haven't seen any that meet our requirements.
Okay.
There's different ones out there, but nothing
Yeah, as long as we're
specific.
watching it. that's
Yeah,
good.
I get emails all the time, every day almost, with that. Then the next water line projects are going to be at East Post Office down here. Mr. Hensey's at the end of his property down here on the corner. We're to connect back up, run along North Post Office, and connect to the corner up there. That's a line that needs connecting. We get some complaints about sand in the water there, and we do flush that point, but the connection will help us with that. The second one we'll do next will be behind Weimer Home Furnishings. It's just that area has several little dead ends. Anything special, you want to talk about that? Anything special with that one, Michael?
That one in particular, there's 3 houses on the corner of North College and Post Office that are all fed by service lines off of a very small stub out, kind of a dead end, and we want to go ahead and loop that all the way through Post Office to the next block. I can't quite remember the road, but yeah.
It's all back in there behind
East of
Weimer Home
North College.
Furnishings, yeah. So I think that's it for my report. Any questions? Things?
We're still looking at that filtration system that
Yeah.
was mentioned.
Yeah, that's a good point. So Michael and I had discussions about this. Michael's going to, we kind of agreed that Michael would analyze the system and then come back probably in January with a kind of report of what he found. Michael's going to do a report here in a minute. He's been working with a company, actually a college, right?
Yes.
To do a pilot program for them. So it's at well number 9. He can elaborate on that, and that's part of the process of cleaning up the water system. So I'm going to hold off for just a minute. We'll let Michael explain all of what he's working on there. Okay. That's it for me. Okay. Okay.
These other items,
Okay. Let's see.
Finance.
finance.
Yeah, let's do. We'll go to my other hat, the financials.
Financial, yeah.
That's on page 5. 5 through 13.
Anything in particular you want to point out, David?
Yeah. I think everything's pretty standard. I don't think anything's out, I think everything's pretty routine.
Okay.
We did complete the roof at the pavilion at the pool down there. It was done by Brushy Creek Buildings.
so I didn't, include anything before I'd started, you know, as I was still kind of trying to get my bearings here. But, one of the first things that we've started taking on is the pothole projects, and not just potholes, but, if it's bad enough, we're ripping out the whole aprons and we're rebedding, retamping, and completely doing a proper fix so that we're not gonna have to keep patching over and over the same issues. As to the pilot program that David mentioned, I'm working with the University of Houston through their, basically bioengineers that are coming out here, and they have a product that works in a similar way to the poly that we've been feeding, and this is all a pilot program, but instead of sequestering it and gluing it all together, it's basically eating it, where you don't have to worry about sequestering it and all of that. And in this particular, what they're feeding it, what we are currently using is like a poly. It's a very thick substance that once it gets stirred up, it loses that kind of glue factor to it. Well, what they're putting in the water is the same consistency as water. So it looks like water, tastes like water, everything, and it's eating everything out of that well that's been sit down there going bad. I have them coming out to do round 2 tomorrow, so y'all may see some flushing off of that, and it may get quite heavy at times. But that's what we're doing, is basically pumping 50 gallons at a time deep down into the well, stirring it up real good, and then holding and waiting to see what comes out as far as cleaning it up. But I can say after them putting it on 200 gallons last week, everything had a vast improvement. It's still got a little discoloration, a little smell, but as far as what was coming out versus what was coming out maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours later after their treatment is a night and day difference. And I believe that we're gonna try it again, but if it's gonna work out the way that they're saying it's gonna work, and the way that I've already started to kind of see it starting to work, I believe this could be an answer to the issues without having to go through filtration and all of that. And this is something that we feed on the same scale as poly, but for a quarter of the price. So that's kind of where we're at on that. And this being a pilot program, they want long-term information, statistics, all of that. So this is something that we're gonna be able to keep and try out for a good many months and see if this is really gonna be the fix that we believe it's gonna be. And then if so, we won't have to worry about the expensive filtration and all that kind of investment. This could be handled for a much smaller investment.
And the cost to us is nothing.
Yes, until,
Eventually, yeah. later on.
eventually. And even then, it would be very minimal.
Minimal relative to what we've been doing.
Yes. The whole setup, including the chemical, is basically what we're paying to refill just the chemical.
Wow,
Yes.
that's awesome.
So we would do away with the poly,
Yes.
correct?
Correct, absolutely. With the aerator system that we have, the glue doesn't stay glue anymore, you know, and it kind of gets drawn out and loses its potency. Where with this, we wouldn't have to worry about that because it's the exact same thing as water. It's, you know, gonna go well together, whether it's stirred up or not. And one last thing, we have been taking a lot of aerator motors and motors in general, pool motors, to get them remanufactured, because whenever I first started, we had one of the aerators at the sewer plant working, and which led to higher than average TCEQ or lab samples, you know, for the previous month that we sent to TCEQ. So we're trying to get all of those remanufactured right now and get all of those ponds back up and running so that we don't have any more issues as far as the lab reports. Any other questions for me? All right, thank y'all.
Thank you, Michael, good work.
Thank you. Chief?
Good afternoon. As far as the police department goes, we had last month in November, 155 calls for service and 2 arrests. And then with 21 traffic stops, 15 written warnings, 6 citations. And the other part is that I wanted to talk about real quick. So last time I was up here, we were 7 months behind on cases. We are now caught up with every felony and misdemeanor case that has to be investigated. We are at day 1. We're there. Also have 2 good candidates, one for LT, for lieutenant spot vacancy, and one for the officer spot. So far, I'm about 75 to 80% through their investigations, and they look like pretty good folks to have here. I've already had one or two that I've declined, so I'm trying to do the best I can to get us the best we can get here. So, guess that's about it. Anything else? No. Just kidding, I'm just an old man. Just an old man.
We appreciate you, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you. Is Misty here? There you are.
City Council, Mayor, City of Weimar. The library's been doing pretty good, even though it's holiday season and stuff. We had 467 patrons visit the library this month, and it's a little bit more than last year, so that's great. Our Overdrive Libby online, people have been using the audiobooks. We've had 37. And then for our ebooks, we've had about 56 started using the ebooks again, so that's good. Skipping to page 18 with the graph, we have 17,932 materials in our library at this time. We're still weeding out books and still trying to make some more room for the new stuff coming in. At this time, we also have 1,797 patrons using the library. They have a library card there, so that's good. And then right now, at this time, we have 287 materials on loan. All right. For the calendar of December, we have not much going on this year. We still have our library Weimar Chess Club still going on Tuesdays from 3:45 to 4:45. If you're interested, we still have plenty of room and plenty of mats for people to come play chess with us. Then on Wednesday, our library emotion class is at 10. We have changing it up. We've been having we had drum fit yesterday, which was very fun, drumming on a stability ball. And this coming up on the 17th, we have chair yoga. So come join us on Wednesday at 10 a.m. if you need some relaxation. On Thursday, we have our family story time, which we had a really good group today. We talked about Santa's reindeer, or a moose, at 10 a.m. And we got to paint reindeer, and they got to sing songs about reindeers. And it was very good. They got a lot of good books on reindeer stories. And next week, we'll be on the 18th, we'll be having a Christmas adventure in the library. So come join us on Thursday at 10 a.m. This Friday, we're going to have a really good turnout for the kids' Christmas cooking class at 10 a.m. for ages 3 to 5. Our class is booked, so we are full to go on that. We have 10 kids participating. They're supposed to be doing some Christmas cooking. On the 22nd, we have a pajama movie. We're going to watch the Santa Claus 3, rated G, showing at 2 p.m. We will have popcorn and water, but then after the movie, we'll do some hot chocolate. And a reminder, people think we're going to be closed on Christmas Eve, but we're going to be open from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Christmas Eve to get those Christmas books in or read to renew. Come get some before the holidays come up and you need something to read or watch movies or even puzzles, whatever you can find. And we'll be closed on the 25th and the 26th at the library. There will be no chess on the 23rd or the 30th, and there will be no library emotion on the 24th and 31st of this month. We will continue back for the New Year's resolutions in January. And the last thing I want to mention to put on your calendars to save the date, on Saturday, January 10th at 2 p.m. or from 1:45 to 2 p.m. we'll be doing checking in registration for the Weimar Chess Tournament. And from 2 to 2:15 we'll do our round 1 and instructions, and then at 4:30 we'll do an awards. So if you're interested in joining the chess tournament, we have 3 divisions, primary divisions ages 5 to 10, and then a senior division from ages 11 to 16, and then adults ages 17 and up. It's free for entry and everything to come. We will do 3 rounds, and you will need to register with David McCall, and I have his information. It will be located on our website and on our Facebook and also at the library. So if you need any information on that. Anything else? Any questions? Oh, by the way, I hope y'all love the Christmas lights and everything going on.
Beautiful.
I was very excited about our train moving the wheels this year. So,
Looks nice.
yeah, thank you.
Mayor, that concludes the city manager's manager's report.
Thank you, David. So item 7, proclamations, recognitions, we have none this afternoon. Item 8, presentations, also none this afternoon. Council will move to consent agenda number 9. We have 4 items under that. They'll all be acted upon with one single vote, and I'll read out what those items are as you review them. 9.1, approval of the regular city council meeting minutes, November 13, 2025. Item 2, approval of emergency called city council meeting minutes, November 17, 2025. Number 3, adopting resolution number 2025-1211-01 of the City Council of the City of Weimar authorizing the city mayor Carlton Tucker and the city secretary Maria Franco to act as the city's executive officers and authorize representatives in all matters pertaining to the city's participation in the home program reservation system with the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. And the final one, adopting resolution number 2025-1211-02 of the City Council of the City of Weimar, Texas, authorizing the city mayor Carlton Tucker, finance director David Mason, and city secretary Maria Franco to act as the city's executive officers and authorize representatives in all matters pertaining to the Greater Fayette County Foundation, GFCF, and providing for an effective date.
I move that we approve all consent items.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Wilson, second by Roberts. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, we'll move into new business, and with the indulgence of the council, we'd like to move 10.6, which is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding an interlocal agreement for additional law enforcement services between Colorado County and the city of Weimar, Texas, up to the beginning of the business section. And David, you want to speak to that a bit?
I'm gonna let the chief,
Very good.
go over this.
So just, I want to give everybody a little bit of history on why we are where we are right now. So when I came here, we have 4 patrol officer spots, 2 sergeant spots, 1 lieutenant spot, and 1 chief spot, which is 8 bodies is what we have. When I got here, we have 2 officers, 2 sergeants, and then me. So about a month or 2 into the process, we had 1 officer that their living situation here in town, where they were staying when they were working here, dissolved, and they were driving too far, so they resigned. So we were down to 1 officer, 2 sergeants, and myself. So up till now, what we've been doing is I pull, like this month of December, I think, for sure I pulled 3 12-hour patrol shifts, maybe 4. I don't want to lie to you, I know for sure 3. So far, matter of fact, I finished my last one yesterday. What makes it hard for me, no excuses, no nothing, because work is work, is trying to do the hiring process, trying to get the department where I want it to be, trying to get it legally sound with the attorney. It's not impossible, it's taking too long, because I can't do what I need to do. So what I did on my own, I went out first and I talked to Sheriff Lindeman, who I've become a good, he's a good guy, he's a good friend. What he's done for us, and I'm gonna touch that in a second, is it's hard to ask for someone to do. But anyway, I talked to him, I said, look, here's where we are. I basically have 3 guys that are pulling the load. I got 2 sergeants and officer pulling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, covering the city. And they're not even complaining. Not a single, I hate to use this word, not a single bitch about it. They straight up manned up and they're doing what they need to do for y'all. They understand we work for y'all and this is what we gotta do. We sign up for this, that's what you do. So they've been doing it. But when I came from Austin, there was times we had rules, an 80% rule, and we were short-staffed and people worked so much overtime and stuff. I did that and it beat us down to low morale, it beat us down to exhaustion, and being a man, you don't want to admit that, because that's not what men do. So they'll push through anyway and do their thing. We're just hard-headed. That's the way we are. So they've been doing that, but I can tell there's beginning of fatigue. One thing I don't want to do is be tired and be rude to people out here, people we work for. That's not acceptable either. So I have to find that line of how we work this. So this is what I came up with when I talked to Sheriff Lindeman. And we kind of came up with an agreement, and I said, okay, so y'all willing to help us? He said, rolled out the red carpet. He goes, I work for the people of the county, Weimer's in the county, I work for them all. So we kind of came up with this, then I came to the city manager and the mayor about it, and we came to an agreement about it, of how, that we should give this a shot. Hopefully it won't take long. Like I said earlier, I have just one officer, hiring one officer can almost completely change this. So we're really close. I would like to give you an estimation how long this would take. We might hire this guy, he might decide he doesn't want to come in, I don't know. But I'm hoping at the worst 2 months, but I can't make that promise, I just don't know. So anyway, that's basically the history of it, how we got to where we are, and the problem that we're having. So what we looked at is, I think in the month of December, there was about, and I would have forgot my calendar, that's like me. I think it was 10 days of this month, oh, 6? Only, okay, 6, I thought it was more than that. I'm gonna say 6 to 8, because I can't remember, and Sheriff's probably right, 6. Days left this month that we need help on to give these guys a break. I have guys that work in 4 and 5 12-hour shifts in a row. You just can't ask these guys to do that very long. Anybody would go insane. So the sheriff has agreed to help us. He come up with a really good plan on how he can staff us. To know the ins and outs about it, there's no secrets at all. Basically what it ends up being is $40 an hour per officer, which is, I think, right at would be our overtime rate for an officer, not even a sergeant. And it's, so with the, let me get to the last page here so I can get you the exact breakdown. So $40 for an hour per officer. We also are going to cover their FICA and Medicare, retirement, and workers' comp employment. So it equals $49 an hour with everything covered. And we use the IRS standards per mile on the vehicles they're going to use. We find out, I first presented, we have some good vehicles here that we present to them, but I realized then, before I even went to anybody with it, we have to get them on our insurance. We have to get all this insurance stuff changed. So that would be a bigger pain than it would be anything. So them using their own vehicles is the best way to do this. That's in my opinion. We have basically like a year contract, but it can be stopped at any time. It can be ended at any time by either party. So this is not something we're bound to for a year and have to do this. He's got us covered for a year, and if something happened, we had to use it for a year, which, good grief, I hope that's not even remotely close, but it would go from a month to month after that until another agreement came up. I don't know if I've covered most of your questions. If you have them, please ask me. I don't know what I missed that would be important.
Just an additional comment, Chief. Last week, Chief, City Manager, and I met with the Sheriff, the County Commissioners, and Judge Prowse, and they acted upon this same interlocal agreement, approved it unanimously. And the gist of it is they're providing this help and breaking even, in essence, for the county. So we appreciate that support, and that brings us to today. As a council, we're presenting it to you, because the other side of that agreement comes from the City of Weimar and our City Council. So if you have any questions, we would certainly entertain those. And of course, the sheriff is here as well to show his support from the county, and we appreciate that. And as Chief Deputy, thank you guys for being here this afternoon.
Any questions for me at all? I will do my best to give you exactly what I know. I just can't think of anything. I tried to make it short and sweet and to the point.
As far as us hiring officers, do you feel, are we paying enough, or do we need to look at increasing that? Is that one of our challenges?
You know, I would say in general, we're probably kind of the average. about the average. It's getting hard to get officers anywhere. I mean, every town I talk to or call, I think the sheriff's all are full, or you're down one or full.
We're fully staffed, we have a new opening coming up in January.
So they're about,
That's where we have to go.
have one, basically the guy that's gonna be helping us is gonna be filling his spot, so he's part-time with the sheriff's office. We let the train go by. Hopefully it's a short one. That's good. So, I lost my train of thought, literally, with the train. But anyway, so I'm gonna look at that. I just haven't had time to sit down, but when I talk to people that have wanted to apply, I've never had anybody tell me, oh, that's just not close. So I haven't had that response. So it might be something we look at, but right now, I don't have a good answer for you, to be honest.
She seemed to think it was pretty much average as far as pay, but we're competing against the city of Houston, those kind of things, it's difficult.
I mean, the city of Austin right now, lieutenant is
Austin.
making like 160 a year. I mean, that's kind of crazy, you know? So they've really gone up, but when the further you get away from the bigger cities, it obviously goes down. I mean, and that's just common, so.
But with the salary that they make here, they get to live in Weimar.
Yeah,
Quality of life goes up, salary goes down.
There you go.
absolutely. Any other questions? Did that answer kind of what? Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Thank you.
Also, this is an action item when you're ready to proceed.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the interlocal agreement for the additional law enforcement services between Colorado County and the city of Weimar.
Motion Roberts,
Second.
second Scardino. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
it. Thank you, council.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank y'all.
With that, we'll move back into the business item and go to 10.1. Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the agreement for the joint use of poles between the city of Weimar and Frontier Southwest Incorporated. And I believe we have a speaker, Brian Gooden. Is that you, Brian?
Yes. Thank you, guys. As you guys know, we've been working on a project to update the infrastructure here, which is possibly 35, 40 years old. And we ran into the joint use pole agreement with you folks, and so we've been going back and forth, and we've gone through multiple reiterations between our legal team, your legal team, and I've been advised that we've all came to an agreement, and now it's up to you folks to get final execution of that. So that's why we're out today.
Yeah, so I can touch on, there's been a lot of back and forth, but the one thing I remember that council wanted us to insist on was when we install a new pole, to be able to force these utilities to move to the new pole, and not end up with these orphan poles all over. And the Frontier, finally, they did kindly agree to the inclusion, it's on page 32, that if we install a new pole and it's feasible for them to move their stuff and we give them notice, they have 12 months to move to the new pole. And so we're gonna keep doing that as these pole agreements come up with the other, whoever else uses our poles, so that we get to a point where when we install a new pole, we'll be able to force everyone else to come put their stuff on that new pole. So you're not gonna have these half-cut poles all over the place, which I remember was a complaint. So other than that, the agreement's standard, and I recommend it.
What about the fee schedule? Says it's on Exhibit A, but there's no fees.
Right, I was gonna touch on that, on page 44, Exhibit A. So our ordinance says an application filing fee of $50 shall be paid with each application submitted. No more than 50 pole attachments may be proposed with each application. So $50 per $50 per 50 poles, okay, per application. A rental charge of $10 per calendar year for the rental of each jointly used pole on which attachments have been made to the utility infrastructure as of December 31st of that year, payment to be due January 31st of the following year. inventory January 31st, 1 month later, the bill's
Yeah.
due by 1 month later. And that's in our ordinance, so that's an ordinance we have.
Is that pretty standard, that pole fee? I mean, do we know if that's,
I guess we went,
I think it varies. I haven't studied it some. I think we're probably in the middle in terms of the annual charge, but I don't.
it's
I
probably
haven't-
about average maybe.
I haven't
There's
done
probably a
any,
few
I
higher.
haven't done anything that I'm gonna sit here and tell you with authority that,
Do you know how many poles you might be attaching to?
I would have to go back and take a look at the build. I don't have that stats in front of me. I know we're doing 1,250 to 1,300 homes here in the community.
Yeah.
I don't know what percentage of that would be aerial, so it's really hard for me to give you guys a round number without.
So it's probably in the grand
doing
scheme
that.
of things, it's probably not a whole lot of money anyways. But, yeah, $10 is what we put in the ordinance. That's all I had to say on that one.
and this is for running fiber?
Fiber to the home, yeah, fiber to the home.
I mean, I think a lot of the fiber's gonna be buried, so that, to the extent it's buried, this doesn't, they're not gonna need our poles.
So y'all gonna bury any fiber in Weimer?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I just don't know what the exact percentage is,
Percentage,
but yeah.
okay.
It'd be nice if there's some competition.
Yes,
That's a good thing.
it's great for the consumer, right?
Appreciate you guys
Yeah.
being willing.
See, if there is gonna be fiber, it'd be good to have something to where we follow up on damages, cause I feel like there's still damages around town that came through last time that haven't been attended, or that nothing's been done with, so it'd be nice to maybe add something like that to.
Is that in here, Bo?
No, this is just for the
For the
poles.
poles.
Oh, okay, just
Yeah,
for
I
the
mean,
poles, okay.
there
Yeah.
either is or should be a separate agreement to the extent that they're running the fiber underground on city property. That would be subject of a separate agreement, and it, as I recall, and I haven't been involved in the discussions on in the city, maybe Dixon was or someone, but my understanding was you guys are trying to move towards burying it, and the pole agreement is just sort of to cover the few areas that they couldn't bore the fiber underground and still had to use the poles, but I don't think it's their Frontier's first choice to use poles at all.
No, so from a longevity standpoint, we would prefer to put it 100% buried. Due to ground, there may be some granite up underneath, there's just certain cost hurdles we would have to get over to put 100% buried, right? So some of it only makes sense to keep it aerial, but we do prefer to put as much buried as possible. And then for any future upgrades, we already have that conduit in the ground, so we're not disturbing anything.
Does Frontier confirm that they are actually within the easement when putting in these fiber lines? 'Cause I know we had the gentleman come here not too long ago stating, he only had 5 foot off the curb line and he doesn't know where the line is, but do y'all
In
actually?
easement, yeah.
Okay, but y'all do
Yeah,
confirm
100%
it's in the easement?
yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Bo, if we changed our ordinance someday in the future to increase that annual pole fee, would that increase their pole fee?
I have to look, it probably would, but I mean, off the top of my head, I don't recall the term of this. It's not an evergreen contract, I don't think, which is why we're renewing it, because there was a pre-existing one. I think in the big picture, probably what we ought to do is wait and see how many poles they're using after they get finished. And certainly if they're using 20 poles or 30 or 40 poles right now, it's not worth it. But if they're using 300, then yeah, we would look at it. But I think almost all of the telecommunications is moving to being underground, and which it probably is good. We would prefer that too. It's that much less stuff that's getting attached to our poles.
This is an action item.
I make a motion that we move forward with the agreement for the joint use of poles between City of Weimer and Frontier Southwest Incorporated.
Motion Scardino, second Clazel. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You guys have a blessed day.
Are you living, can I give this to you? This is our ordinance. That way you can just share that with your. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. Move on to item 10.2, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the conditional use permit received from Mary and Christopher Gray for property located at 216 East Jackson Street as a P and Z case number 05-2025. That's on your pages 45 to 60. And I believe we have here to address that item Christopher Gray. Come on up, Chris.
Council members, fellow citizens, I appreciate your time to hear me speak regarding the boarding facility that we are wanting to put forth here in town to hopefully better improve the lives of the citizens and the pets therein, especially because now since COVID has happened, the pet ownership rate has gone through the roof, even in a small town like Weimer. I'm up here solely to speak to you about the dream of what we have going on over there. Mr. Sacre will speak more regarding the plan. He has nice visuals to show what it is exactly we want to do with the property. So our intent is to create a boarding facility of no more than 30 dogs and no more than, say, 8 cats, and they can only be dogs. So there's going to be 14 suites inside the building, and that's going to be 2 coupled pairs and we're leaving some room for families that have 3 dogs, because we're going to have 2 bigger suites, not because we really wanted the bigger suites, but because the proportion of the building just kind of allowed for a couple of bigger suites inside the building. So we would allow, as long as they're not, generally oversized and stepping on each other, 3 in those 2 bigger suites. This in turn will hopefully bring in a lot of business from outside of the town as well as within the town, because we every week field 1, 2, 3, sometimes up to 5 or 10 different calls asking if we at Barks and Bobbers perform boarding services. And while we've converted maybe about 20-30% of those to in-home pet care, which is admittedly a lot more personalized, geared towards the pet, especially dogs and cats that don't do well in boarding facility situations, i.e. high anxiety or energetic, need lots of exercise, lots of attention for one reason or another. We've converted them to overnight care, but there's still that 70% of people that want to be able to come in, drop their pet off and not have their pet stay at their house by themselves for multitudinous hours throughout the day, where we come in 2, 3, 4 times a day to check on them for however long the people want us there for, 30, 45 minutes, an hour. Or paying exorbitant fees like what we have for our overnight and extended overnight services, which can range from, $180 a night all the way up to, pardon me, allergies. All the way up to nearly $300 per day that we're there for 15 hours worth of coverage. So that's the dream that we at Barks and Bobbers have, is to create a facility where everybody, no matter who you are, has the ability to bring your pet to a place where you can be rest assured that they will be cared for, well taken care of, and have an otherwise enjoyable experience, and not just what we would consider a dog kennel, but almost like a hotel for dogs. So you get a vacation, they get a vacation. Did y'all have any questions? Oh, by the way, I did hear one small rumor. People were concerned that we would be bringing horses and goats and other things that would be considered livestock in as boarding animals, and that is not the case. Nothing bigger than dogs, and I mean, I don't anticipate anybody wanting to bring their parrot or anything like that. But they might, and we'd have a place for it. But I highly doubt that that's going to be the case. So nothing that would be considered livestock, and definitely nothing any bigger than a large breed dog. Did anybody have any questions for me?
Yeah, we're talking about the old Peter, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you gonna share some information in regard to that, Mr. Gray? You have some presentation?
Mr. Sacre has a board here that shows a little bit of the building plan that we have going on thus far. With regard to the outside, the inside, I don't see many people having too much of a general care about, but the outside is what people tend to be more hung up on the details, so I'll hold the board, I'll let him speak.
I'm Emmett Sacre. I'm an architect, 1342 County Road 213 in Weimar. I'm the architect on the project. You should have a plan. You should have these drawings in your packet. You also have their operational information that gives you the details of how they're going to operate. And so essentially, this is the old funeral home. This is the property that they own, all in one parcel. And I guess you know the reason that we're doing the zoning case is because this use would not be allowed in that zone. So they're rezoning the property to fit into a zone that allows for dog boarding, and then the conditional use, I believe it's called, is for them to operate that facility on that rezoned lot. So this is the area that is outside, and we would fence in that with this pink line. That's a 6-foot high solid wood fence for privacy, sound, and then inside that we're going to create, the green line is a chain link fence that creates 4 separate exercise yards. And the idea that is that the dogs that are within this, let's turn this so this gentleman can see it, let's back up. So the dogs that are in this section of the building here, we're not adding on to the building, we're going to remodel the interior of the building. And this, what was the old chapel, will end up being the suites for the dogs, and that has, on another page, you'll see that's divided up into 10 suites. But the outside of the building, which is probably the most important thing to you all, is those dogs come out and they're exercised in those 4 yards separately, and each one of the yards has a shade structure over it. So that allows them to operate the facility and control the animals, so nobody's running loose. The way I understand it, every dog that comes out into the outside of the property is accompanied by a trainer or a handler. So that's essentially the architecture of the project. Any questions?
I have one question. What are y'all gonna do about the waste management, we'll call it?
With regard to waste management, so as stated, anytime any animal is outside in one of the yards, so they're going to be split up into 4 separate yards, and each yard will have blinders on it to help reduce noise. Inside those yards, somebody will be there with that dog at all times. There's not going to be a single moment where any dog put out in the yard will be unescorted. So as soon as a dog does his business in the yard with regard to defecating, somebody will be there with bag in hand to essentially pick it up, which will negate any kind of smell, at least in that sense. Now, with regard to disposal of it, that would be something that we would have to approach Texas, the TDS guys about, with regard to a container or something like that might help, because I mean, dogs go a lot. So that filling up a regular size bin would probably be pretty quick. So see about getting a dumpster or something like that to help mitigate any kind of smells or anything like that.
I know if you visit like the animal shelter in LaGrange, they have indoor facilities, they spray them all down.
Yes,
pretty
yes.
much. So are your facilities gonna be sprayed down? Or
On the interior or the exterior?
Interior.
On the interior, we won't necessarily spray things down. What we will do is clean and mop floors using about the same type of chemicals and things like that. And every kennel, as soon as a dog is gone outside to do their thing, somebody's going into that kennel to clean the walls, the floors, making sure that it remains sanitary for the dog, especially if they had any kind of accident or something like that throughout the night, which some will do, obviously. But cleaning up is going to be about the same thing. It's just not going to be anything as quick as spraying. It'll be more hands-on and more hand cleaning in regard to that. Now outside there is a chemical you can spray on grass and dirt that helps sanitize for things like if they urinate. I can't remember for the life of me what the name of that chemical's called, but it hooks up to your water hose and you can spray off the yard. We intend to do that between each dog because we don't want any cross contamination if one has an illness that has not otherwise been diagnosed yet.
Good answers. Thank you.
How many employees are y'all planning on hiring?
At the beginning, we're only looking to have enough to where we'd have a day shift and an afternoon shift, because we plan on closing the facility down at around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. So that way, so no dogs will be outside past any of those times. But we're looking to have anywhere between 6 and 10 employees overall. And that's going to be an eventual process, because we're not going to start off with 100% capacity or getting anywhere near 100% capacity. But over time, we're aiming for about anywhere between 6 and 10. What we need to make sure it is entirely manageable for anybody involved in working there.
Hey man, what is your last name again, and how do you spell it?
It's Sacrey, S-A-C-R-E-Y, Emmett, E-M-M-E-T-T. And I was the architect on the animal shelter in LaGrange as well.
Okay.
I did the addition when we remodeled it. I don't know if any of you've been there. It's beautiful.
It's very nice.
Yeah. Oh, it's all them. I just drew it.
Well, you did a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's not in the packet, but kennel it's a conditional use for C2. They're in C1, so they're asking to rezone it as C2 so that they can get the conditional use. I know Gary over at P&Z was diligent in looking at this. He and I exchanged some emails.
Yes.
I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I think they've approved it or recommended it, is my understanding.
Yes, they've been before P&Z.
Okay, and so, yeah, and so this, what they're wanting to do is an established conditional use already for the C2, but because of where they are, they're in C1 and need to be rezoned to C2, and so I think that's then the action, and then I guess we approve the conditional use as well, rezone and approve.
Yes. Well, it is an action item when the council is ready.
I think it's definitely a need in Weimar to have this, so. I'll make a motion that we grant the conditional use permit received from Mary and Christopher Gray for property located at 216 East Jackson Street.
Motion's Cardino,
Second.
second Roberts. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item 10.3, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding ordinance 02-2025, amending the Code of Ordinances for the City of Weimar, Texas by amending Chapter 4 Business Regulations, Article 4.02 peddlers for mobile food units, and providing its effective date to be the date of passage by City Council and the publication of the caption as the law in such cases provide. And the exception we were looking at is on page 66, that had to do with the overnight use of certain booths, like barbecue brisket, that sort of thing, so that it's not removed on a daily basis. And so that's addressing that need that we had back earlier in the year. I think, David, you wanted to mention something about snow cones.
Something that wasn't in this is maybe I would call it seasonal mobile food trucks, such as the snow cone truck we had over here by the hatch. I think that's a benefit to Weimar. It's just there for a short season. then they take it away. But it's not practical, they would take it away every day and bring it back, that's just not practical.
No,
But,
that's-
it's just serving one purpose, it's there for a while on private property, and then they take it away at the end of the season.
I think that's an important point, that those items are on private property.
I mean, and I guess I can help since Don isn't here. I remember looking at this, the specific changes on page 66 is the exception for,
4.0204.
Yes.
you know, I'm not sure I want to eat a brisket that's been smoked for 3 nights, but we give them 3 nights to get it smoked. If you can't get it smoked in 3 nights,
You better give up.
you're eating jerky.
Well, hopefully it's eaten up by the day and they're smoking again.
That's right.
Yeah,
It'd be nice to have a barbecue.
yeah. No, I mean, I think the 3 nights was to cover like
It was.
Gdanky and,
That, and then, yeah, they would,
Over the weekend.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, they would cook Friday night, sell Saturday, cook Saturday night, sell Sunday,
Yeah.
something like that.
Makes it more reasonable for the vendor, for sure. This is an action item.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance number 02-225, amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Weimar by amending Chapter 4 Business Regulations, Articles 4.02 peddlers for mobile food units, and providing its effective date and date of passage by the City Council and publication of the caption as the law in such cases provide.
Motion Roberts,
Second.
second Christian. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. 10.4, discussion, consideration, and possible action on adopting ordinance number 2025-12, 11-01 of the City of Weimar, Texas, regulating the maintenance of trees, shrubs, and ornamentals, trees within the public right-of-way and on private property, establishing responsibilities for property owners to maintain compliance with clearance requirements, providing for notification, enforcement, and city intervention, providing for emergency tree removal, and providing penalties for violations. Man, David, are you speaking to that?
Yeah, so this is at the back of the end of the packet, is that
Yeah,
correct?
you should have
Yes.
copies
Right
of
in the
that.
packet.
And it's just a draft.
Yeah, we can, yeah, it's pretty good.
Haven't had a chance to look at it.
Well, I've looked at it, I think this would be my comment. So right now, we're putting the burden on the property owner to do it after we notify them. My concern's, one, you're gonna have people on ladders out in the street, trimming trees, probably not great. And I would defer, I guess, to Public Works, but if we just do it, then we get to control, you know, we get to cut it how we want it. And I don't know that it's a big expense, but I would recommend just having the city say, we're gonna do it. You know, so that then it gives us the leeway, just, when they're driving around, or someone calls and says, hey, this limb is hanging down, if we have someone free, we just go cut it.
I think the only
It's in the
problem,
easement.
might come around that is if the trees and the landowners and the city makes a wrong cut and it dies, then it probably falls back on us being, we didn't really know.
We wouldn't have liability to the extent we cut it in the easement. If we go
Correct.
beyond the easement and cut it, we would have liability, but it's just, think of it as like this, your neighbor has a tree that, hangs over your yard, and you don't like, and you think that limb's gonna fall on my roof, you're absolutely entitled where it crosses into your property to cut it, without liability.
Gotcha.
You know, you would only be liable if you cut it and then you sprayed remedy on it, and it killed the rest of the tree. But I think, and again, I know from my dealings with the people that are before municipal court with code enforcement kind of stuff, is that under this scheme, we're gonna have people saying, I can't afford it, I don't have time, I'm on a fixed income, et cetera, and we're gonna be sort of chasing them, and so I think it might be easier for the council to consider just saying, we're gonna, if it's in the easement, here's, you know, here's the extent we're gonna trim it, is whatever these measurements are here, but that we'll just do it. And I mean, certainly I know, you know, in Houston, they do that. All the time, and a lot of it's in utility easements, they're like, we're here to trim the trees. And they don't really ask
Not
permission.
really up for discussion.
Right, yeah, they're just gonna do it. And, it gives you a little bit more control. You know, you're not gonna be arguing with someone about what did you trim it 9 feet or 10 feet, and we can just do it. But if that's a big expense, then we should revisit that.
Well, so I spoke with the Public Works Director in Sealy, and he said they kind of worded it this way, and what they did is, the reason they did that is say if the person can't afford to get it trimmed, they can have it professionally done to those standards, rather than the city just going and lopping it off and not making it look pretty. He said that's the only reason why they have it stated that way.
Yeah,
And if they can't afford it, well, then the city will go and take care of it for them. So that's just the only thing that the reason why I was kind of like that.
So that they can do the whole tree, not just the part.
Correct, yeah. So that it could still make it look pretty and still be able to meet the ordinance and all that. So that's just a thought.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And I think this does address if you need to do something right away, you can go do it. And I mean, I don't have a problem with doing that. I guess it's more just saying, I think once people figure out if they don't do it, the city will do it at the city expense. I can predict how many are gonna be.
Let's do it.
95%, yeah.
Correct.
Maybe more.
But I think you're gonna have a handful that are gonna be like, okay, well, I'll
Okay,
take
yeah.
care to get that paid for to make it look nice, so they don't,
And
that's just
so-
my thought on it.
So in here where it says that
Well, I mean, you could
the
leave
owners,
it,
the expense will be on the owner, I say the expense will be on the city unless this owner wants to hire a professional.
yeah, I mean, we could leave it as is and then just not enforce it, but then, yeah, you're right. I mean, if you leave it as is, then,
You know, it's like,
you're liable to some keyboard warrior coming at you in 2 years and saying, well, you
Well, we
didn't ever
definitely want
collect for
that.
tree trimming.
Imagine
so-
that.
Correct.
you know, on the limb pickup, when we do the first 15 minutes, it's free, and anything after that, you know, maybe, I know it takes 5 minutes to cut a tree, an hour to pick it up, so, you know, I don't know if we extend that time a little bit. I don't know how much we wanna police that, but,
I don't think we bill very much for that. I think we're very lenient on if we're there 18 minutes, we just do it and move on. It's just, it takes more time to bill for 3 minutes than it is just to move on
Pick it up,
and
yeah.
keep our
Bookkeeping's not
city
working.
looking good, yeah. So we're very lenient as far as that
I mean,
goes.
I don't know what Sealy does, but you could consider, you know, just outsourcing it once a quarter.
you know,
To
we
some
do
people
that,
that are gonna,
what's the tree company that comes, McCoy?
McCoy, and, yeah, and they do our, power line easements.
So we could get them to come in and, you
Just
know,
add
there's
that
probably
to it.
several spots right now, and we should do it, it'd be good for several years.
There's some places that definitely need it.
Big time.
Issues for the fire trucks,
School
School
buses,
buses.
it's everywhere.
yeah, I mean, from a liability standpoint, I almost would prefer to outsource it, so that, because otherwise you're gonna have kind of quasi-trained utility guys, you know, climbing around trees or just using stuff, and so
Just use that same
it might
company.
just be better to let people who that's all they do, who then, you know, and we're gonna have a contract and, you know, they'll indemnify us and they'll be responsible for their workers. And it, you know, that probably might even be the best way to go.
True.
But I guess, as, like right now, if there is something, they come through and they do it, and then if later on something comes up, we need to trim it, our guys do trim that along the power lines
Yeah.
in between. And I guess we could take the same approach with the limbs over the streets and in alleys and things like that. Is if it's between when the guys come, then we can trim it ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kurt's right, that you do it once for the stuff that's accumulated over the years, and then it probably is pretty minimal
Yeah.
quarterly.
Just be maintenance every once in a while.
Correct. So then do we need to make any changes to the ordinance right now, you think, Bo, or I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would change the part that says we're gonna, that I mean, we could pass it, but we would change the city pruning in section 4.2 to just say if the violation is not corrected within 2 weeks, the city may prune the tree, shrub, or ornamental tree at its expense.
That sounds
Yeah,
reasonable.
I think that's.
And then I would also change that in section 5.3.
Yeah, so everywhere it says owner's expense will
Yeah.
must be, so there's 3 places, 2, and section 5, 1 in section 5.3. And are we gonna do the notification?
I think we probably should.
So-
I think we should.
Yeah,
So I'll get special ones made up that's just about tree trimming, and then we can notify them.
yeah, I think we should know.
We'll design it around the ordinance so that they can call us directly, and otherwise, give them 2 weeks' notice to make a decision. They kind of need to,
I think that people appreciate the notice.
yeah,
For sure.
okay, that sounds good.
All right.
So, yeah, the council could take action to, adopt the ordinance as modified, if they wanted to.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance 2025-12-11-01, an ordinance of the City of Weimar, Texas, regulating the maintenance of trees, shrubs, and ornamental trees within the public right-of-way and on public property, establishing responsibilities for property owners to maintain compliance with clearance requirements, providing for notifications, enforcement and city interventions, providing for emergency tree removal, and providing penalties for violation as modified.
Motion Christian, seconds Cardino. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. 10.5, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the purchase of utility poles. Is that you, David?
Yeah, I can do this. I'm showing page 70, but, okay, it's page 69.
All right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is basically just restocking our inventory. Derek wanted to order this array of poles right here. You have to order a certain amount of poles for them to ship them out, and it saves us money on shipping also. But this is what he recommended to get our poles back in stock.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead with the purchase order, or the purchase that Derek has put together for ordering our utility poles.
Motion Roberts,
Second.
second Claisel. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you all.
We've dealt with 10.6, we'll move on to 10.7. Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the agreement and confirmation for voting location for the 2026 joint primary elections with the Colorado County Precinct Number 201, location being at 106 East Main Street, Weimar, Texas.
So Maria organized this. It's just a standard procedure we do every year.
Yeah.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
Scardino,
Second.
second Roberts. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We're at now at 10.8, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the 2026 holiday calendar. I believe that's on page 80.
Again, council, this is standard, the same as we have every year.
I move that we accept the 2026 holiday schedule.
Motion Wilson,
Second.
second Roberts. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Future agenda items. I'd like to put down possibly, and it depends on whether or not we can be ready, the subdivision ordinances. I know we're working on trying to get some response from, is that the county engineer?
Yes, sir.
How, but whenever we have that ready, if it's January, February, whatever that is. Any other future items?
The water well,
Yes,
Need to add that.
number 11,
yes, sir. You can put that on there.
please. Sounds good.
Water well 11.
Water well 11. Anything else? Okay, announcements, David?
So, posting, Danny unofficially passed her Human Resources
Woo-hoo!
accreditation, SHRM, I think is what you call it. So she passed that test, which is,
Cool.
it's a good accomplishment. Also, as everyone's aware, tonight we have Down Home Christmas Parade. That'll be tonight.
And employee appreciation
Employee appreciation is tomorrow.
tomorrow evening at 6
6
at the Civic Center.
at the Civic Center.
And with that, we always want to thank the folks in our audience. Appreciate you being here and participating. And any of those at home or viewing, we appreciate your input. You're always welcome to make us aware of your needs, and we'll do everything that we can to address them. So with that, we'll turn it over to Miss Becky.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
That's always unanimous.